Welcome to the fine print, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Caleb Teskey, and I'd like to just send another couple of thank yous out to Rico James, who provided the music for that beat, and Rodney Leinhart, who did the production for my intro video there. And I know a couple of you said the bass was a little loud. I'm working on that. I'll fix that up here real soon. Yeah, I do want to. I got another great guest for you today. This is going to be another artist spotlight. And before we get into that, I do want to thank a few of my previous guests here. And I do want to thank my sponsors, Higher Elevation, Damien and Bailey, higherelevationvt.com, 65 Northgate Plaza, Suite 6, Morrisville, Vermont, 802 200 2937. Please go check out their store. They got a great selection of glassware and a number of other people that have appeared on my show as guests that I really think are doing business the right way here in Vermont. And also, so some of my last guests, Charles McGowan from Sambo Creek Filtration. I know it's hard to see, but it's Sambo Creek, Creeck Filtration. They make hash washing gear. Super fascinating conversation with Charles the other night. Joseph Calderon, Grateful Valley Farm, Cannabis Farmers Alliance over in New York. Christopher Rohn, Talking Joints Memo. And, Jason Struthers, I got to get back on the show. We had a little bit of connection problem, but hopefully we can resolve that and get Jason back on the show soon. And I do want to just announce a couple things I got coming up. Sunday, I've got Larissa Bolivar coming back. I don't know if you guys saw my first couple interviews with Larissa, but she's really put me into some great veins of research here that have really informed a lot of my work. On the 23rd, I've got Box Guts coming on. He's a dope MC and does some really killer artwork that I've seen. Thursday, I've got Nade Renmus from, yeah. He's from the Jarve crew. Ethan, great guy, just put out an album with, Dr. Octagon. I think he got on a song. So that was super cool. And I also have Stephen Houghton, who I think we might have to split that up because I double dipped that day. But my guest today, and let me pull my notes back up here. Cool. That's everything I got coming up. My guest today, you may have seen appear on my show a couple times previously. And I've offered every artist in Vermont this opportunity, and also cannabis companies, when you got drops coming up, or you have a new album coming out, hey, hit me up and I'll be happy to give you a free interview. And so this next guy has been taking advantage of that fully, and I really appreciate that. And I'm happy to have him back on the show today. And wham bam is Robscure. Rob, thank you for being here, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure, dude. And so we've talked about, and hang on, I'm gonna put you over in the big box. Yeah. So we've talked about your other couple of albums. We talked a little bit about the earth and the air, and now we're on to the water. And I'm curious, first of all, maybe to hear about your fascination with the elements, because it seems like that's a continual theme here, and I'd love to hear sort of how you got on that track.
Yeah, well, I think it's just an interesting way of looking at life. There's different aspects of life, and you could look at it through any lens, but the elements I really like. There's earth, which is kind of the take care of business side of life, make money, be healthy, spend time with your friends and family, security, safety, that kind of thing. And then, there's air, which is kind of the more philosophical, uh, communication side of life. And then there's fire, which is desire and purpose and, passion, anger, aggression. And then there's water, which is the the spontaneous, creative, emotional side. So I just kind of like how all of those things, it's kind of like a four-part Venn diagram. Um, but I would say I probably started thinking about it because I had friends in high school who were like into astrology, which I never got into super big, but it was always like fun to talk about. And then my friend put me onto Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was kind of a late bloomer with that, but that show, I ended up liking it way more than I thought I was going to, and it just gave me the idea to like do something with the elements.
Mm. And you know, I also was a late bloomer on the Airbender, but I really enjoyed that show myself. And you know, it is interesting to see, you know, how you're playing through these different elements, you know, the Earth album. And I listened through the Earth album and the Air album again right before I had you on here,
Mm.
just to see how the styles have been progressing, you know, and seeing sort of how you're actively, you know, creating these sonic soundscapes for each different element has been very wild to watch. And I'm curious sort of how you do that, Rob, you know, because I assume from what I've read, you're still doing most of the mixing or the
Mhm.
production, making the beats. And I'm curious how you differentiate between the different elements and work that into your whole con.
Uh, that's a good question. Oh, you're frozen. Can you still hear me?
Oh,
Oh, now
oh,
you're good. You
oh,
can hear me?
lost you for a second. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
cool.
got you. Yep, lost you for a second, but you're back. Yep.
Yeah. um, yeah. I mean, it's kind of intuitive, you know. It's just like certain beats. I guess when I started, I wasn't like doing as much production, and I didn't really know mixing as well. So I was just kind of looking for beats that made me feel grounded or that felt like strong, you know, like earth. Um, but then, yeah, I mean, certain elements, earth was actually harder. One, because I didn't have, you know, as much of an understanding of like sound production as I do now a few years back. And also, earth, I feel like, has less obvious sounds to it than like water or fire or even air. You know, like with air, there's like wind. With water, there's like water was fun because there's like a million different water sounds water can make, and they're all very musical. Fire will be interesting. I feel like there's not a as much of a variety of sounds, but yeah, just trying to like incorporate um, literal sound effects that those elements make go a long way in like creating that atmosphere. But also just like thinking about the movement of the element and like how you're trying to get people to kind of like move with the song or how you want them to interact with it. You know, air is like very light and you want it to be like uplifting and uh, like exhilarating kind of like you're flying. And then earth is kind of like hard hitting and like you want it to be grounding and like just feel very stable and solid. And then water is I wanted it to feel very dynamic, you know, so there's a lot of change in like in volume and like different sections of the song, and it's very like fluid, you know. You want it to feel very smooth. And then I'm still kind of like figuring out how I'm gonna approach fire, but that's kind of how I go about it.
And I feel like I saw a video of you. You did like a little promo video where you said maybe water is your favorite element.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's just the most I feel the most pulled towards it. I think it's got the most variation, and I like it because it's dynamic. You know, it can crash or it can like soothe. It's all of those things, and I've always like wanted to live near a body of water or really enjoyed swimming and spending time around water, and I just think it's like a beautiful element aesthetically and philosophically. You know, it's used over and over and over, like "be like water" and a million other references to water.
And it also sounded like maybe water was an acronym for the album that you used. And I've
Yeah,
got that written down here, but I'd love if you just explained that and I didn't have to.
word. Yeah, so I think I got that idea, like, I guess probably early on, but I wanted to put the titles in all capitals just to kinda, like, be more in your face, but and then so that made me think, like, if they're all capitals, you know, maybe it should stand for something, the only problem is, with that many letters and that many words, it kinda, like it's a long, title, especially on most streaming platforms, you can't even it, like, cuts it off at a certain point. So with Earth, it was, eventually all returns to here, um, and then with air, it was answers
Oh.
and release, and then with water, it's, we are the eternal ripple. But I'm still kinda debating if I wanna add that, uh, I don't know what you call that in a book where there's, like, a s not a subtitle is a different thing, but I don't know what you call that, you know, when there's, like, the main title and then, like, a colon or a dash and then, like, the thing below, but I think for now, it just looks cleaner as just water, but, coming up with the acronym kinda, like, helped me, like, decide on, like, the central thesis of the project, you know?
And I like it. We are the eternal ripple. That
Mhm.
that really resonated with me, as something like, boy, it fits perfectly. There's not too many syllables, and you really nailed it there. And I feel in a lot of ways, just from you know, the amount of mushrooms I've ate, maybe that didn't help. But maybe we are the eternal ripple. And I think something that one of my favorite, I think maybe it was Carl Sagan. He was like, "We are the universe experiencing itself," which
Yeah,
I thought was very fitting to sort of my life in
yeah,
particular.
totally, yeah, no,
Mm.
that's a good quote. I didn't know that was Carl Sagan. Um,
I don't know. Don't quote me on that, please, because I'll figure that out after.
no,
But
I mean, that's as good a guess as any, um
that's
yeah. No, and I mean, it kinda goes a lo I'm trying to make them all kinda, like, make sense together, you know, like, with Earth, like, uh, you know, if you believe whether you believe in reincarnation or even just, like, the biological process of, like, the Earth composting itself, you know, like, the idea of everything kinda returning or, like, regenerating, um, you know, and then the air was, like, answers and release, like, sometimes you have to let go of all your earthly tethers to kinda, like, get perspective on this experience that you're having, and then water, I guess, is kind of in line with Earth, you know, this circle or cycle or ripple that just keeps going.
word up, Rob. I'd like to ask you about a few of the people that have collaborated with you on this project, if
Yes,
that's
sir.
okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, the first one is Cam Barnes.
Yeah, that's one of my good friends. He lives out here in Brooklyn now too. I met him when we overlapped a little bit at UVM. He's a great producer. He raps. He's been DJing lately. Really a hip hop renaissance man, and yeah, great guy, great musician, great ear. We work well together.
Mm, okay.
He did a little like beat switch up on that song "Stream of Consciousness," um, and then he produced the whole beat on Atlantis, which is kind of more of a like a spoken word thing. It was kind of an experimental one for me, but I just loved that beat. I thought it fit perfectly with the project, so I had to do something to it.
Mm. I'm here with Robscure. I gotta shamelessly slap that up every
Hey.
10 or 15 minutes. Yep. Yeah, so the next couple people I'd like to ask you about, one is named Stoic.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of my favorite producers. I've been following his work for a while on YouTube. He posts like tight beats and stuff, which I know a lot of people are have mixed feelings about, or maybe they're adamantly against it. But I just saw a thing the other day where J. Cole like randomly reached out to this YouTube producer and was like, he sent him this text, was like, I was stuck for inspiration. Out of curiosity, I Googled, or like I put my own name into YouTube. Yours was the first that came up, and I made this song. So I think that's pretty sick. And I definitely have heard of artists still using type beats. But anyway, no one
Hmm.
no one called me on that. I don't know why I'm defending myself, but yeah, I fuck with Stoic. I met him this summer, and it's been cool just because I've been following his stuff for a while, and now we're more in contact. But yeah, he produced R&R, which is the one with CJ Fly.
Yeah, so well, do that segue for me. Yeah, CJ
Yeah,
Flat's also on the list. Tell us about CJ, please, if you would.
yeah, that one was really cool for me. He came up with Pro Era, this kind of this like 90s esque revival group. I guess some people saw them as that, like kind of bringing that back into the limelight in like the mid 2000s in New York. And yeah, it was like a bunch of people. I don't know, maybe like somewhere between 6 to 10 members. Um, and yeah, Joey Badass's group. I grew up listening to them in high school, so it was cool getting him on a song. Very surreal.
Hell yeah. I got a couple other names here. One is Succinct,
Oh,
SXINT.
Saint, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
okay. I
maybe
don't know how to say that. Yeah.
whoa, wait, maybe it's succinct. Succinct, I never thought about that. I always read it as saint. It's, like, got an X instead of the A.
Okay. Well, you know who I'm talking about, though. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know the guy personally. He's another YouTube producer. But yeah, him and this other guy, Juvenescence, produced Troubled Waters, um, and I got the stems to that song, so I messed with it quite a bit, but yeah,
So, so,
they're
so
great.
excellent. So you're connecting with some people from out of state that you've never met before, just online.
Yeah, and I mean, with those guys, I didn't actually connect with them, I just, like, bought their beat, but, for some of
Well,
them.
that's a connection, I would say.
True. Yeah, and I mean, I'll, like, reach out to people once the song is out and be like, "Here's what I made with your beat," and sometimes then we'll be connected, but yeah, it depends.
Oh, okay, cool. What about there's another name on here, Eerie Skies.
Yep, another one in that same YouTube producer camp, talked to him a few times,
Hmm.
but
And you know, one of the most fascinating things that I heard on your album, Rob, was the way that you lay some of the background vocals.
mm,
I hear you uh, getting some of that. I don't know how you do that all. I assume that requires multiple takes of you singing a lot. But you know, that was really, and that's why I sent you some of that Mayor Hawthorne stuff earlier, because I thought it reminded me of the way he layers his background vocals, and it really helps fill up the mix. And I thought that stuff sounded great to me.
thanks. No, I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was definitely experimenting with that more this album, been inspired by Smino a lot over the past year, and he does a lot of, like, melodic shit and a lot of, like, background harmonies, layering, um, so yeah, that's been cool, and I also, like, kinda learned how to do that, or, like, first saw it firsthand, when I was working with Charlie Main, just, like, seeing him do one vocal at a time and, like, listening to it when he's got his headphones. I, like, didn't know where it was going, but then, once he was done and we played the entire thing, it was, like, this whole chorus of voices, so I've been trying to, like, figure that out because honestly, that's been, like, the most fun to me and the most satisfying is, like, like you said, kinda like filling up the mix, bringing a song to life with those elements.
Yeah, and I saw some of that on this most recent album, you know, like the way you're filling out those background vocals, it really it brings a whole other element to your music, and I really appreciate that personally.
Thank you, I appreciate
Mhm.
it.
So I got a couple more here for you, Rob. Um, One of them was about the guy who did your cover art, Connor Cooley. I'd like to ask you about Connor.
Yeah, that's my best friend. We've known each other since we were 14, so 10 years now, and, went to high school together, went to 1 year of college together, dropped out together. I mean, it wasn't planned like that, but it just we've kinda were on the same path, lived together for a year, and then I moved out here. He's been back in Vermont, but he's actually going on, like, a crazy round the world voyage right now. It's like a whole it's called Semester. It's like a whole, like I guess you're getting, like, college credit, but it's out at sea. Sounds pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I'm happy this got to come out, like, right before that, so he got to see that with his cover, but he did the cover for Earth, and he's done a lot of my cover art, and, he actually yeah, he had a hand in, writing the chorus on the last song, which is, it's cool. I've never actually that was the first time I've ever put out something that I didn't 100% write, so I'm glad that it was him, you know, because we've worked closely, so it's cool. It was a very, like, organic effort, but yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah. And you know, we talked about this on the last show a little bit, but you also it looks like you released a couple videos.
Yeah.
I think one of them was the Soul Child video. Maybe we could do that one first, and the other one was oh, I don't remember the fucking name of it now. I remember the video, and you're floating in a tube on.
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so maybe we could do the Soul Child one first, and then we could talk
Yeah.
about the other one. Maybe you could tell us who helped you produce those videos, unless you did that yourself, like you do fucking everything else, Rob.
No, yeah, the Loch Ness one that, Soul Child is in, yeah, that was shot and edited by Art Morera. Um, he's a new friend and frequent collaborator in Brooklyn. Well, he's out in Jersey, but, we hang out here, and, yeah, he's the man. He's awesome, like, insanely talented, creative vision that I totally trust, and, the type of guy who, like, you know, even if it's not his project, if it's something that his name is on, he wants it to be his best work. So that's always cool when you're working with someone on your stuff. And yeah, Soul Child's on that song. She's crazy. Has been getting a lot of attention lately from like Dreamville, J. Cole's collective. Um, and yeah, she's dope. Her performance on that video was amazing. Her like stage presence was great. So yeah, I'm really hyped on how that video came out. That I feel like is my first really professional video that I've outsourced. And then yeah, the one in the tube was Stream of Consciousness. Connor helped me shoot that at J Peak, and I got some help from my friend Musa, and my mom actually got a couple shots too. Um, but yeah, and then there
I'd
I
like
put
to share that. Hold up, if I could, just if I could, real quick. Hang on. Let me just. I pulled this up so we could do a screen share. Robscure Loch Ness. I want to just share that for everybody who might see this. Rob's got a YouTube page here. Robscure Loch Ness featuring Soul Child official video. Yeah, yeah. Go.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah, and then I've been just putting together other visuals myself for the project. I put together a little like lyric video visualizer for R&R with CJ Fly, just with like stuff I shot at the beach. Yep, that's the stream of consciousness one.
Yeah, I'm also gonna slap that up there because I had that loaded up, ready to
Hell yeah.
go. That was just. Can you tell us about that? Did you really? It looked like you went swimming at a water park and got real wet.
Yep, yep. It was a pretty fun experience. I was definitely going for some absurdism there. I brought my catering clothes, put on a full like shirt, tie, dress pants, and went into the hot tub. We did a few takes there. People didn't know what was going on, but it was fun. Um, and yeah, the rest of it we mostly filmed in just like the lazy river on the twos, which was super fun, but also stressful not getting phones wet. Um, but yeah, that shoot was a challenge just with how wet that environment was, like keeping the phones dry and keeping the speaker dry. Um, but yeah, that was a super fun day. I just took Connor there for the day and we got all those shots and tooled around at the water park like kids, and it was fun. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
I just put out
I'm gonna do this
another
one more
video, the
time
first
here.
I just put out the first video that dropped after the whole project dropped, which is for Flow State. I just shot that one and edited it myself. Just kind of like set up the phone at sunset on the waterfront, and yeah, I think that one came out
You
good.
did that again yourself. We
Yeah,
talked about this on the last interview about you recording some of the videos yourself, and you did that one again. Flow State, that was you.
yeah, yeah. But I also have been like wanting to outsource more lately because there's like I mean I could keep going with it, but right now it feels like there's a ceiling that I'm hitting with like what I can achieve by myself. Like I think that Loch Ness video is definitely a cut above everything else, and I feel like that's because I worked with a professional videographer on it. But yeah, this project's been fun. I got visuals for 6 out of 8 of the songs, which is definitely the most focused I've been on visuals for any project ever. But I got two more. I got like a visualizer / lyric video for that last song, Rinse and Repeat, and then I got one for Atlantis. And most of the clips on Atlantis, Connor got those when he was scuba diving, getting his scuba diving certification. So it's like underwater GoPro shots.
And I gotta say, Rinse and Repeat, I thought was my favorite beat on the whole album, and I love how it just closed out with this super spacey,
Solo,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that was really beautifully done, in my opinion.
Thanks, man. That was produced by Eerie Skies. That one.
Yeah, I do. This froze up last time, but I'm
Yeah.
with Robscure here. Yeah, we, yeah. We
Hey.
talking about the Water album.
Yep.
We are the eternal ripple,
Yes.
Rob, and I'm just about out of shit here. I think we covered all of your cohorts and the
Yeah.
guy who did your cover art. And I want to thank you again for joining me. I also want to thank you for taking advantage of me to do fucking interviews for you, man. I really like that. I really have offered this to all the artists in Vermont here, and you really seem to be uh, on top of that. So thank you. I always love speaking with you. And I want to just do, here we go. Robscure, the Water album. Please check out also his other albums. He's got the Earth album, he's got the Air album. I can't wait to hear the Fire album. But Rob, and I want to thank my sponsors one more time at Higher Elevation here, higherelevationvt.com, 55 Northgate Plaza, Suite 6, Morrisville, 802-200-2937. Last word is for you here, Rob. Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna get out of here, but if you missed anything or you have any shameless plugs or shout outs, now is the time. Maybe you could tell people where they could find your music. And yeah, been a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, you too, Caleb. Well, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate the platform. Appreciate you taking the time. And thanks for checking it out, hitting me with some good questions. Yeah, thank you. Means a lot. Yeah, you can find the project on any platform, Water, Robscure. Um, yeah, you can get it on Bandcamp if you want to purchase it, or it's on any streaming platform as well. Lots of visuals for it on YouTube. Everything is just Robscure, Robscure. And yeah, I got a release show coming up, still nailing down a date for that, but that's going to be probably first or second week in February here in Brooklyn. And yeah, after that, I'll be doing more shows and working on the next thing. But I'm still still pushing this project that I had in the works for over a year. So definitely check that out and hope you enjoy it. Thank you for the time. Shout out Fine Print Journalism. Appreciate it, Caleb.
Mm. Yeah. For my guest, Robscure, and you've heard where you can check out all his music, and you've heard my sponsors, Higher Elevation here in Morrisville. I'm your host, Caleb Teskey, reminding you that the devil's in the details, and the details are in the fine